This is the CLIMACO podcast.
Let's go deeper. What were you marketing, and how did you evolve from that?
So when I first started the business, when I first started the network marketing, it's utility. So it's getting paid when people pay bills, gas, electric, cell phone, cable, internet, home security.
Okay.
Right. It was like residual income on bills. So love the concept.
How did that work exactly?
So they have different like affiliate partnerships per se with major like Dish, DirecTV, AT&T.
Got it.
Basically some of your major utility providers. It's word of mouth, so they offer a discount, right? So you get a discount if you go through them, right? But you're still connected to the major utility. So I started with that. And so what you realize is that like I started with that, but it's like in network marketing, of course, it's about getting customers. But of course, whoever has the most customers has to build the biggest team.
Right.
So now you start understanding vision building. You start understanding like brand. Like, so I came with the brand, struggle before success. To me, I'm from the inner city. Everybody resonates with struggling before they can become successful.
For sure.
So that was like the vision. So I basically started with that, and we had some success. I hit regional vice president. How credit came along, how I got into like basically wanting to understand how the banks work was I made money in my business, in my network marketing business, and I wanted to get in real estate. The whole time I'm running around doing the network marketing, I never knew anything about credit, getting access to money from the banks, because you just understand how to like how to basically build a team and how to get access to customers and how to make money.
Right.
Okay, now that I'm transitioning real estate, it's a different ballgame because now you got to understand how to get money from the banks, how to evaluate certain deals, how to know what's a good deal.
Different ball game.
Just entirely different type of business model. So due to my networking experience, though, I know how to network. So I make a phone call to one of my guys. I'm talking to him about the business, right? And he's telling me about his friend that can help with the real estate. We just talking about business and real estate. He like, yo, I got a friend. He knows all about real estate. I'm going to connect y'all. Bet. We connect. Everything seems good at first. My mom was a nurse, right? Like a CNA, GNA. Was always very, very good with money. Like, she don't go get her nails done. She ain't getting her hair done. Like, she just not on that type of stuff. And so in Baltimore, you could buy properties for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. So instead of her spending money like on dumb stuff, she would save money, and then like it would be opportunities for her to buy properties. There's this hospital in Baltimore called Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins, they're a university as well, but it's also a hospital. They started like basically gentrifying, or basically like doing rehabs and stuff in the neighborhood in the houses that were around the hospital. She had a house that sat on the same block as the hospital. So that house at the time probably could have went for like $230,000. We just had to fix it up and do the rehab, right? So she owned it free and clear, didn't have any liens on it, but now we need to get a rehab loan or a hard money loan to do the property. We partnered with the guy, and the way the deal goes, he steals about $65,000, anywhere from $63,000, $65,000, something like that. He basically gets us for $65,000 out of the deal. I'm about 25 years old at the time, so I'm young enough where it's like, man, F it, like I'm gonna figure it out. My mom is probably like, I don't know, 58, so she's more like, and being honest, the guy was white, so he's like, oh, you let this white guy, I'm like, it's not even about that, right? Like, because what happens with us is, and it goes back to how we think and process, because now we start looking at different things of that, like color and
race, yeah.
And like, it's nothing to do with that.
It's about money.
It's about money, and it's about knowledge, right? And like application, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, what did he know that I didn't know? What is it that he knew? How did he connect the dots?
What did I miss, right?
All that. So I try to redo the process, but without him, I'm trying to get loans from the banks. They pull in my credit, looking at your credit. I don't know nothing about credit. I had repos. I got negative student loans. I got credit cards I done ran up, never paid it back. I don't know nothing. I never been taught anything about it. But now that I'm trying to reduplicate this process, and I'm going to different banks, I'm going to sitting down with people that are white behind the desk that deal with banks. I'm sitting down with people that are black behind the desk. It don't matter who, but they all telling me about my credit. So okay, boom, YouTube University. I start digging in, like, okay, well, what factors go into your credit report? What are they looking at? So now I'm starting to understand negative items and like, collections and charge-offs and repossessions. And
Right.
like I'm starting to understand how all of this works.
Delinquencies and all that.
From there, it's like, all right, how do I fix this? Because I messed it up. I messed it up because I didn't have no knowledge. Now I need to understand how to fix it. So now it's just educating myself. Around the same time, this is when Him 500 initially comes out with recession proof and all that. And so it goes back. I flew to a event that he did, an in-person event in Atlanta. I flew. And that like blew everything, like that whole event blew. Because now I understand like certain things about the credit report. I understand how to get access to banks. It's Navy Federal. We got all these different banks, who they pull from, just all the different things that go into it. And I'm like, bet, I'm here. I'm locked in. Let me go and access the information, and I'm gonna go apply this information. So at the time my credit was bad. So where I started applying was, first thing I did was I started fixing my credit. I started sending out the letters and stuff like that to get the repossession off, fix the late payments. I called, I had student loans. I called, and this is when they had like some income-driven repayment plan. They was like, look, if you get into the plan, it'll knock off all the late payments on your student loan. Perfect. So I fixed that. I fixed the credit card. I get the credit card wiped off. Now, like basically my credit is going up. My mom didn't have no credit. So where I had to fix my credit, she didn't have no credit. So what I tell people is like, yo, you can basically.
Which one's worse?
I think it's easier to build someone who has no credit. No, I think it's easier to build someone with no credit than to fix credit and then like build. Because one is like it's negative and you gotta get rid of negative, clean it, and then you gotta build it. One, you just gotta build.
Okay.
So what I tell people is like, okay, look, sometimes let's say you got bad credit, right? Look, you definitely need to work on your credit, but now you need to find someone that you believe, a family member, a friend, someone you trust, believe, and like let's see how you can work their credit and put them in position. So first thing I did was I got my mom a secured credit card with Navy Federal, her bank account with Navy Federal, secured credit card. I started, basically building her credit profile out from scratch. So she does a secure credit card with Navy Federal. Mind you, my mom knows nothing about credit, so she not the one that really need the money. She not trying to figure it out. Like she just letting me work it. So boom, I remember working her, basically building her out, getting American Express, getting Capital One credit cards, getting FNBO, right? So I built my mom out. I got my mom over $100,000,
wow,
just in personal funding, right? From scratch, right? So then now it's time to go back to real estate. I still ain't never forget that I want to do the real estate, but I just needed to understand how the credit reports work and stuff like that. The next deal we do, I use her as the personal guarantor for the property. We go in, we basically get another, let's say $100,000 on a hard money loan, but now it's to fix up the property.
Okay.
And boom. So even that deal, we actually just sold that deal. We sold that deal. We did about $60,000, $70,000 in profit on that deal.
Incredible.
And it was literally because I started understanding like the literacy of financial. And so at the end of the day, even for anybody who has bad credit, we got to fix your credit. There's laws, there's ChatGPT. So even like now, if you got to fix your credit, boom, what do? You can go on ChatGPT and ask it to write you an aggressive affidavit, right? Using certain laws, right? There's certain laws. If you just use 15 USC 1681A4, it talks about that we all have
off the dome.
Yeah, we all have a right to privacy, right? So you can leverage that and say, hey, look, go to ChatGPT. Hey, look, do a prompt. Hey, you are a consumer law expert that specializes in the Fair Credit Reporting Act, right? Hey, write me an aggressive affidavit talking about my right to privacy using 15 USC 1681A4, and then list the different accounts and stuff that you have that's negative, and then boom, it'll spit you out the affidavit. If you need, I would say get the affidavit notarized.
That's incredible.
So you go to notarylive.com. So now you can take the ChatGPT affidavit, input your information into it. Go to notarylive.com because on notarylive.com is a website where you can notarize anything online, right? You submit your ID, you submit the document you want notarize, you notarize it, and then boom, you can even send it out certified using onlinecertifiedmail.com. So these are the ways that from home you can repair your credit immediately from home just by taking the simple steps I'm talking about, right? And if it's building, it's just understanding, like a lot of time people look at a credit score, but they don't really understand how to build out a credit report, right? So you want to have a different mixture of different things on your file. So I would go with secured loans, right? They call Navy Federal pledge loans, but most credit unions, right, you can do pledge loans, right? Yeah. So if you had money, you take the money and put it into a pledge loan, right? Pay off 75%, 80% of the loan right away, and then let the rest over time, because the way credit works is that it's payment history over time. Right? A lot of times people don't want to build. A lot of times where we come from in our community is always about destruct and not construct. And it's like you got to start understanding.
That's deep.
Yeah, you got to understand how to construct. And even with your credit report, even with your life or with business, right? It's like we build on our successes. We build on our failures too. And so it's really just understanding the mindset of construct. So yeah, you do some secured loans. You start with that. You got, rent reports. You can backdate. So rent reports, you can backdate, right? Your rent payments and things like that. Go to rent reports. You do a backdate. I would do a couple of secured loans and maybe 1 or 2 secured credit cards. Secured credit cards, I would only do like Capital One or Discover. I would do ones that graduate into a real credit card, right? And then essentially, you can add some authorized users, which means that you can become a user on someone else's good credit, making sure they don't have any like negative stuff like that. And that's pretty much how you can start building out, And then I would go through credit unions. So Navy Federal, you can call them, say, look, man, I had a dead grandparent that was in the military. I'm looking to get a check in the savings account. Typically, they let you in. You can go to financialfitnessassociation.org, pay $8 for the year, and they have a list of credit unions that now you'll have access to as well. And I would basically go in and get different accounts for credit unions. And I would start building from credit unions because they're a lot more lenient when people have to build out their credit reports and stuff like that. So those are the things that I didn't know at the time. And so I started using that with my mom. So got her to a 700+ credit score. We got, hundreds of thousands of dollars with my mom. And then by the time that mine's turned around, it was, game over. So now it's either I still leverage my mom, I still leverage myself. But, just off of leveraging my profile, my mom's profile, we've gotten close to $1 million in funding. We've done some, real estate deals and things like that. And it really started because of a tribulation, a trial, right? Because someone stole $65,000 from me, it basically allowed me to make millions. And that's the crazy part. A lot of times things happen to people in life, and what happens is people look at the obstacle and not the opportunity.
Mac,